All right. Can you guys see me? Make sure first time. If you guys can see me and hear me, just comment yes or whatever. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Good morning, everyone. So, yeah, first live stream, live trading, and yeah, futures are looking pretty strong pre-market, right? So, as of now, you guys can see my chart here. On the left, I have SPX. On the bottom left here is QQQ, which is the Nasdaq, and then in this little watch list here, you see all the futures, right? So we got Bitcoin, ES, Ethereum, we have gold, NQ, and the Russell 2000. So right now we're seeing a decent gap up. It's not a huge gap up, but it's enough for you to be a little bit more hesitant at the open, meaning most traders will try to chase the gap, right? And in some cases it works. You could jump in, the market moves straight up. But what's the one thing that we've seen all week, especially the gap up on Monday, right? If you look here on this SPX chart, we got the gap up and then the market dipped, right? Yesterday, market gap down, but we also saw another dip. So going into Wednesday, there is a pattern that's occurring, meaning buying the dip seems to be the play. So does that mean that's going to happen today? Maybe, but it's something to watch out for when you are day trading, right? Because it's not about trying to just predict what will happen and assuming that because of a gap up, it's going to go straight up. You could see another dip. So that's what I'm looking for today. And looking at individual stocks, we have to look at what's gapping up, what's gapping down, and what's flat on the day. So looking at Apple is the first one to look at. Is futures are higher, both the Nasdaq and the S&P, but Apple's not gapping up. So should you buy or should you focus on Apple looking today at calls? Probably not, right? It could run, but we want to put the different stocks in different categories based on relative strength and weakness. So this one I would say is neutral. And then looking at other stocks as well, let's see, let's start with Meta. Meta's having a small gap up, nothing big. So that one, we're watching it. It's in the category that it could bounce just because it's had a big sell-off, meaning it got to 796 at the all-time high, right? It dipped to 601, now it's at 630. So it's got a chance to move. Same thing with Microsoft, right? Microsoft is gapping up about 2 points. So this one got down to almost 498 on Monday, and now it's at 510. So this one is a candidate to bounce this month. This one's had a pretty sharp sell-off, similar to Meta. So keep an eye on that one. Same thing with Oracle as well. Right, this one got to 345 at the highs this year and dipped to 228 yesterday. It's at 236 now. So if it pops back above, I would say 240 to 242. It's got a chance to make a bigger bounce. So keep an eye on that one for a move higher. Nvidia as well, got to 212 all-time high and then dipped to 178 at the lows, I think last week. It's at 195 now. We know 200 is a round number. It's one of those psychological resistance levels. So your upside here is limited, meaning you have about a little over 4 points of upside before you hit a hard resistance. And you have to ask yourself the question, is that worth my money? Is that worth me trading that type of move? And for some people, yes, if you're a quicker trader, but for others, it's not worth the capital. For me, it's not worth it. 4 points before you hit a hard level. I'd rather see how it acts near 200 and then catch some move from 200 to 212 versus try to catch 196 to 200, right? So yeah, I mean, other than that, with trading, day trading, how I approach the day, it's more about being patient and reacting, because I don't know what's going to happen today. Nobody knows, but being able to try to interpret what's happening pre-market and what happened the past few days, that's what's going to give you the best idea of what's possible. And having the different scenarios laid out in terms of if the stock breaks this level, the index breaks above this level, this can happen. That's what you need to have prepared each night. And looking at the futures pre-market will give you an idea of market strength and weakness as well, right? So just remember that, like, when the market is gapping up, it's easy to feel like you want to jump in. It's easy to feel that rush, and it's easy to feel the fear of missing out. And especially when you look at your watch list and everything's green, right? The first reaction, first instinct for most traders, most people is I need to get in now. And you have to remember that's not thinking objectively. That's your emotions talking, and that can affect your execution. So gap ups, like I said, they trap impatient traders, and buying an intraday top, especially at the open, it puts you in a situation where you're playing catch up the rest of the day. And what smart money does instead is, even if the market does run at the open, we wait, right? We wait for an entry that we have planned out the night before or pre-market, and we wait for that specific entry and go from there. So for me, let's see where a higher low prints out today. When the market starts to carve out a bottom, that's where ideally I'd like to enter. So just remember, the edge isn't being first in a trade, right? Meaning we get the gap up, you want to jump in right away. It's about precision. So every gap, whether it's a gap down or a gap up, it'll give you a chance to jump in. We don't know where exactly, but just let the price come to you. Don't chase the price, because that's where you give up a lot of profits, or you end the day in the red. So just wait for confirmation. Long term, it'll build on good habits, and you'll just be a more consistent trader. So yeah, just be patient today, right? Protect your financial capital, mental capital, and we'll see what happens. Also, during the stream, I'm going to be giving out 10 grand. So I'll just probably pick random people on stream, and each person will get $1,000. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes until the open now. Yeah, Meta's making a little bit more of a move. So yeah, I actually trade on my phone, so you guys will see, like, you'll see the orders execute, like right here, the notifications. So yeah, a lot of people think like you need to like have these like hotkeys set up, and these super precise uh, orders where you need it done in like 2 or 3 seconds. But I think trading on the phone is fine. I mean, you don't, if you need to enter a trade, and the difference between a winning trade and a losing trade is 3 seconds or 2 seconds, then it's probably not the right trade, right? So it's something else to think about. I think a lot of people try to teach like, okay, you need to set up the hotkeys, and you need to set up like this screen with active trader and this and that. I don't think it's necessary. I think that's probably good for people that scalp, or people that are just looking for a few percent gain. But yeah, you guys will see. I mean, I'll enter the trades on my phone, and you'll see the orders just kind of fill on the left. I held QQQ calls overnight, so I'm gonna sell those at the open. So you guys will see that order fill. But yeah, let's see what happens. Time is it? 6:26. So we got about 3 minutes now. But yeah, most important thing, like I said, is don't feel like you need to just rush in right away. Right? At the end of the day, a lot of stocks are just in a wider range too. So it could be a day where maybe just quicker day trades. But we're going to use SPX, and we're going to use QQQ as our compass for the day, right? In general, sector leading stocks will follow the S&P. They will follow the NASDAQ. So we're going to use these as our gauge of market strength or weakness. And then also, I also look at Bitcoin. I look at Ethereum to look at risk. Meaning, if you see people buying up Bitcoin, people buying up Ethereum, in theory, it's considered to be a risky asset. So if they're buying that, you have to assume that people will buy stocks. But if you start to see weakness in Bitcoin, especially, then in the past, I would say, few weeks, past month, it's been a leading indicator for risk. Meaning, if this starts to sell off, you'll start to see the stock market start to trickle back lower as well. So just something to be aware of for today and the rest of the year. So, all right, we got about a minute 40 now. Quick dip on there. You see Palantir, I mean, Amazon, Meta. So QQQ pre-market got to 626. It's at 624.80 now. So you can kind of see here in the daily chart, 627 is going to be a level to get through. So you got a little bit of upside here before you hit hard resistance. Let's sell these calls at the open. All right, 10 seconds. Let's see what happens. But yeah, just stay calm, right? You don't need to rush into a trade right away. All right, so I got rid of some calls here I held yesterday. So I bought them at around $3, sold at 4.49 just now. All right, so yeah, we're watching here, right? Futures open, seeing a bit of a dip there in QQQ. Let's watch to see where this starts to hold. But usually the first 15 minutes is the most volatile, so just be careful. I'm watching the 627 call for Friday right now. Let's keep an eye on that for now. I'm watching futures too, decent dip there. So NQ at the highs got to 625.830. It's at 25.730 now. So Tesla's dipping, Palantir, Oracle's dipping right there, MSTR. So people selling into the gap a bit. Might buy a little NQ down here. Looks like. All right, I'm gonna dabble into some NQ right here. So I bought 10 lots of NQ around 25,700. 25,700. Just dabbled into a little bit, not much. All right. So let's see what happens. Let's see if it starts to bounce. Yeah, this dip. It's not a bad dip right here. Especially if it gets bought up like it has in the past. Let's see what else. So Goldman Sachs, big breakout. Nice. That one moved. Palantir, pretty sharp sell-off there. Robinhood had a big run, right, this year, especially. So, it got to 153, it's at 132. So it's just, I think it's going to enter a longer consolidation period for now. So just be careful if you are looking to trade this one. Yeah. You see some strength here in IWM. So IWM's at the highs, and then you're seeing QQQ at the lows right now. So ideally, you want to see rotation back out. Like this one move back lower, and this one will go back higher. AMD's up 20, but it also had a big gap up. So all right. So I guess for 627 calls a little far now for QQQ. Let me see. Yeah, you see Apple, right? It was flat in the day with the market gapping up. Now it's down too, so some weakness there. Still seeing some movement here. So UNH, Goldman Sachs, IWM, or APP selling off. So you see, like even with today's gap up, you can kind of see like at both SBS and QQQ. If you try to buy the gap right away, you get caught, right? So I sold the QQQ calls, and now I'm kind of just waiting on this to see where this thing bottoms. So that's a kind of a point of like the past couple days, especially the gap up on Monday. You saw that dip at the open, and then even on the gap down yesterday, you saw a dip. Eventually, it curled back up, but yes. So far, some weakness in tech, right? Meta, Apple lower, Tesla dipping, Palantir, Microsoft looked strong yesterday. Now it dipped. Oracle lower. MSTR is getting bought up a little. The risk reward, I think, on MSTR down here, I think it's going to start to shift back to the upside. So that one, I'm going to be watching that one pretty closely over the next couple weeks. All right, so dip bought up first buy here in the 5th minute of the day. So SPX is at the highs. This one's a little bit stronger. Goldman Sachs making a big move. I personally don't trade bank stocks. I have a hard time timing that type of trade with the banks for some reason. So I don't typically trade those. Big sell off there on Meta. Let's see if they start to hold it here to 623. So you're still seeing strength there, right? In the Russell 2000, the banks, and then UNH healthcare stock so far. And the thing too with trading is like you can't catch every move. You can't trade every ticker, and you can't just trade every sector. A lot of people try to chase different things, but for me, like what I've done over the years is I focus on a handful of stocks. And what I've done to try to get better and is just try to master a few. And if you can get good at trading an index like the S&P, then you can use that information to trade other things. Like you can trade sector leading stocks. But if you're only fixated on one random stock, it's very difficult to use that to trade other things because a specific stock sometimes it just moves very kind of specific to that type of price action. But the S&P is it's like a compass, right? Based on how this moves, typically the market will act in a similar way. So, but today we're starting to see like some real deviation here, right? Like IWM and SPX are decently strong, and QQQ is a little bit of weakness. So yeah, actually, like look if you look at SPX and QQQ, they're almost complete opposite. Yeah, tech is weak. You see Meta, Apple, Amazon, and then even Microsoft. Microsoft's getting bought up a little, but those three looking weak, not great. Nvidia dipping a bit as well. Yeah, so in order for QQQ to get back higher, you need to see these mega cap tech start to bounce. But so far, Amazon's still making new lows. Apple's still near the lows. Meta near the lows here. Nvidia's still reversing lower. So tech still just looking average. You still, and then you see GS, UNH, IWM. They're all kind of staying right near the highs. So let's see what happens. You see QQQ still. That pop just got sold pretty quickly on that. So yesterday, this is an area where QQ started to chop around, and then eventually, I guess, after hours in pre-market, it started to ramp up. So it's kind of in this range now from yesterday. If you look here, let's see if we can kind of hold this, I guess, support near 621. SPX starting to reverse back lower a little. IWM a little bit of a dip as well. So let's see what happens. Bitcoin, Ethereum dipping a little too. Still, you still seeing strength there. You see that? Goldman Sachs, IWM, UNH. Tech not looking great today. All right, so QQQ about flat on the day now. Had a decent gap up too. Now it's flat on the day. SPX is about plus 16 on the day. A bit of a dip by. So yeah, it's kind of holding that range you see from yesterday. If you look down here in QQQ, it's kind of holding there, but we'll see. It's still early. It definitely is pretty good rotation here. I mean, I don't really trade UNH either, like GS UNH. They're making decent runs so far today. Tesla's a tough trade right now. This one, it's in a wide range. I would say once it gets through that 471 range, it'll retest the all-time high, but it's in a really wide range from like 419 all the way up to 471. Wow, QQ is still going pretty much straight down here, but let's see where the first bounce happens. So you see now, like SPX is not quite near the lows; it's almost there, but then IWM still at the highs, and then QQ is lagging now. More lag there. And then you see Meta still new lows, Apple near the lows, Amazon new lows again, Robinhood pretty weak, Nvidia at the lows, Microsoft at the lows, MSTR, Coinbase at the lows. Meta's still going, you see, 620. But you guys can see like trading, it's not like you're just jumping in and out like nonstop. It's a lot of just kind of waiting and then observation and figuring out like what to actually trade. But I'm kind of just talking you guys through my thought process of, okay, well, this looks weak, this looks strong, these stocks look weak, these look strong, right? So it helps you. Sometimes when you talk out loud, it gives you an idea of what you should actually be trading versus what to avoid. So as of now, like I said, this QQQ has the most weakness, and then SPX is next, and then you have IWM, which is looking the strongest. But yeah, still seeing more of a dip there in QQQ. So it was good that I sold my calls at the open on this one. If I didn't sell here right at the open, then I would have lost all my profit. Yeah, it looks like SPX might be next to move green to red. But yeah, let's just be patient. Let's see where the market bottoms today. I mean, it's a pretty decent pullback already on QQQ. We got to 626 at the highs. It's at 620 now. So 6 point intraday pullback's pretty good. SPX down 17 points from the highs now. So pretty much today's gap up that we saw at S&P and QQ, it's it's a trap. It's kind of like what I talked about pre-market is you want to be careful trying to chase, like especially when trading options up here, you can really get caught. So it's kind of waiting now. Still seeing a lot of strength in GS and UNH. Yeah, Meta's still really weak. Yeah, and then like even trading today, like in hindsight, it looks simple, like, oh shoot, like why didn't you take puts? But buying puts into a gap, especially with the market getting bought up the way it did yesterday, it's harder to see. So, like I said, not you're not meant to take every move, right? Every time the market moves, it doesn't mean just take a trade nonstop. You have to really just wait for your edge, wait for something that looks like something you normally take. And if you ask yourself the question, would I take this trade 90% of the time? If the answer is yes, then take the trade. If the answer is no, then don't take it. Most of the time, people end up over trading and they take trades that they don't understand. And it's a big reason why most traders don't have any conviction, right? They'll enter a trade, they don't know where to get out. At the end of the trade, it'll go up 100%. They won't sell because they think it'll just keep going higher and higher. So yeah, we're seeing a decent pullback now. Yeah, Tesla's a tough trade. Still going. Wow. So 519 is a level. Let's see if I can hold it. Let's see, it might be worth a shot here for a bounce. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna let's see, 620 is held back to 619. Pretty decent dip here, QQQ. See if it holds near 619, 620. Still dipping a little. Let's see if it holds. Still a little bit weak here. Still, see anything great yet, but yeah. Let's see. It's trying to hold here near 620. Let's see. All right. Picked up some of the 622 call for Friday. So filled those at about 363. See, let's see if it tries to bounce here. If it can hold 319, it's got a chance to move back higher. Let's see what happens. So a little bit of a bounce on Meta, right? It's up about almost 3 points from the lows. Apple trying to hold here near 271. Amazon, a little bit of a bounce too. Microsoft's still kind of weak. Let's see if this one can get back near like 510. Wow, still a lot of strength in Goldman Sachs. Starting to bounce here. Yeah. UNH somewhat near the highs too. Yeah, those stocks like NBIS, let it drop for now. This one's had a pretty sharp move to the upside in October, and now it's starting to cool down a bit. Right, so no real bounce quite yet on QQQ. Let's see if it starts. It's a pretty big dip though, like 626 to 619 intraday. So let's see if it starts. So far, nothing yet. So ideally, we want to see it get back above this first big sell-off, like this big candle right here. So just for like a intraday level, I would say above 622 can start to bounce back higher. It's got a shot to get up to like 625 again if it gets above 622. So it's got some work to do. It's still pretty far off that level. Nothing yet. Still pretty weak. Yeah, you see Meta, no real bounce. Kind of tried to pop higher and reverse lowers. Same with Nvidia, Tesla lows, Palantir, Robinhood. Apple's still weak. Amazon weak. Microsoft weak. You see Oracle, MSTR coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum starting to dip as well. So doesn't look great quite yet. Yeah. So the first thing you want to see is like, can any of these cars start to carve out a bottom, right? These tech stocks, and then can any of them move back near the highs of the day? That happens, you'll see tech rotation back into tech and out of um, IWM. But so far, not seen any clues of that quite yet. Still seeing actually quite a bit of weakness here. All right, SPX trying to bounce up 6 from the lows. QQQ holding that 519 again, right? So on 3 different candles here, held 519. So now we're looking at these tech stocks, like which ones are getting bought up. So far, not too much, not enough to, nothing significant here. Just seeing more strength, honestly, in UNH, GS, and IWM. All right, let's see if QQQ pops up 2 more. It needs about a 2-point pop here to start to gain some momentum. It's not quite there yet, so. Meta's had a pretty big intraday sell-off, so see if it can start to bounce as well. It's a pretty sharp sell-off. Right. A little bit of a bounce here. You see SPX, QQQ. Yeah, this is the area right here you want to see, like right near 622. You can start to get back up there. It'll start to bounce. So that's the first thing you want to notice, like right there. Yeah, it's interesting. Like the market, like every day is different, right? There is no one day that is exactly like the past day. So it's really important that every day that you trade, you have to come in with a clear mind, and you have to have no bias, right? Don't assume something's going to happen. Have your scenarios planned out of if this happens and this is possible, but never just assume a move is going to happen, because if you assume today's gap up was going to be a gap and run, then you get completely crushed. And with day trading, it's not about prediction, it's about reacting and execution. So all right, we're up a little bit on these QQQs, a little, not much. Let's see if they can move in the money. All right, I was in some Bitcoin futures. Kind of want to get rid of it. It's been pretty volatile. Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of this. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this one. Yeah, I was holding some Bitcoin futures. Got out of that trade. All right, so first attempt here, market tried to bounce a little. It dipped pretty quickly, so that's what you don't want to see. So let's see if it gets bought up now, right? It dipped pretty quick on that first pop, but now we want to see if it starts to grind back higher. And now we have a level for the day, meaning the low of the day on QQ is at 619, let's say 50, 59. And then SPX, the low of the day is 68.50, right? So you don't want to see those levels break now. We want to see those levels hold, and then and then start to continue to print higher lows from here. So that can happen, then yeah, well, you could potentially see the highs of the day again, but it's still pretty early in the day. That there's a lot of time left, so let's see what happens. You see, Meta still no bounce, still fairly weak. Apple's getting bought up a little bit. Robinhood, Palantir, Nvidia's getting bought up about a point and a half from the lows, but still a lot of weakness in Amazon, Microsoft, Meta. Uh, Same with Oracle too. But yeah, so far just kind of just average bounce here. Let's see if it can get above this candle, right near 622. That's what I like to see. All right. It needs another like 1 point pop here, look better. QQQ. It's not still just average here, just average. You see Amazon still making new lows, so you don't want to see that. Should Bitcoin? Oh, sorry, Bitcoin's starting to bounce. I think I might have sold that too early. We'll see. I think taking profit on that's good. You see QQQ it's dipping now. See, same with SPX. So you don't want to see that. Like when these pops happen, you want to see it hold it. But so far, not seeing that quite yet. Yeah, it's starting to reverse now, down almost a point from that pop. All right, let's see if it tries again. You see, it got bought up about 60 cents just now, so not bad. Quick 1 point pop from right here, this current level. It'll start to grind back higher, I bet. Right, Tesla bought up a little. Meta is a tough one. This one's a tough trade. Look at that, just free fall. All right, so dip bought up. Let's try and this QQQ call is moving a little. We're up about how much? 3,500. Not enough. It needs more here. All right, so here we go. It's trying to bounce again. QQQ. So let's see. So we're in at 360. It's at $4 now. It needs more though. I would say a little bit more. It's not quite. It's trying to. It's trying here, but now we know like it's kind of just in a range too with SPX. Highs at 68.69, lows at 68.50. So it's right in the middle of today's range. AMD, OKLO, GS, UNH at the highs. Apple's starting to grind back higher a little here, about a point and a half from the lows. All right, so 622 call, almost in the money, but we need a little bit more here to get paid. Not really, not a little bit more. Yeah, I would say I need at least another point bounce, and I'll probably start selling some here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Microsoft's, you see Microsoft's so weak. Meta's very, very weak. CrowdStrike weak now. Robinhood's getting bought up a little. Okay, here we go. Starting to move. So we're up about 6,000, not much. Yeah, not enough. All right, so another dip here, but let's see if it gets bought up and it continues to print these higher lows. That's what you want to see for like a bullish reversal. Yeah, just give me I'll answer your questions, guys. Just give me a minute. I'm just kind of watching the market pretty closely. The first hour is usually the most important for me. First hour, hour and a half, but after that, I'll take a look at all your questions. All right, so QQQ, the 622 call, about to move in the money. Not quite yet, almost there. All right, so you see SPX now right in the middle of today's range. So not too, it doesn't need much more to get back to the highs. So, another 10 points from here. QQ has more room, I guess, in theory, to run, especially if there's a rotation back into tech. Not saying that happens, but if it does, then QQQ could make a bigger move potentially. We'll see though. We'll see. Yeah. But so far, I would say just an average day, like for me. Like if you caught GS or I guess UNH, probably get paid here, or I guess even AMD. But that one to me is also kind of a tricky trade, especially like if you look at AMD here, you try to buy the open at 258, it dips to 250, you get stopped out, and then now it's at almost 260. So that one can be a little tricky. Yeah. Start reverse back a lower again. You say stop right near 622. So Amazon, Meta still making new lows here. Same with Microsoft. So QQ down one fairly quickly. So see, still some weakness. So once again, like we want to see, like, does it get bought up quickly? Right? If it gets bought up quickly again, then definitely it's starting to look more bullish. But seeing that there's still some weakness in these tech stocks like Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, CrowdStrike, it's still there's no real clues of a bottom or real strength quite yet. So, oh wow, you see that SPX right back to the lows. So that's not great. Meta's getting smashed right now. Jeez, that's a tough trade. It's tough to trade. Yeah. Yeah. So SPX back testing that 68.49 level. I'd like to see it hold here. This is kind of in that range where it chopped around for a few hours yesterday. So it's kind of back testing near there. Let's see if it can hold. QQQ basically dropped almost 2 points from the highs. Yeah, so far a little bit of a slow day. Nothing great yet. So still early, right? Not even an hour into the day yet. So got some time here. CPI data is coming, I think, pre-market tomorrow too. So it could be the next catalyst here to push the market back up. But yeah, just kind of just chilling right now, just watching. Oh, CPI is an asterisk next. So yeah, maybe. All right. Someone asked how long are we streaming until? I would say I'm gonna do at least 3 hours, right? So and then I'll do like a longer Q&A uh, during, I guess, during the stream. So gold is ripping. Yeah, gold is ripping. Yeah, I alerted the futures trade on that one on X. I think at 39.40. So now it's up what, over 200 points. Someone said, "Do you enter any trades yet?" Yeah, I took QQQ calls. Someone said first time here. Is this the format of your everyday trading group? Um, I'm not necessarily doing live trading during in my Discord, but I do like live commentary, and I'll go on audio. So, but I mean, it's very similar, right? I'm kind of just talking through the market throughout the day through text and through voice. But yeah, market's still just chopping around, kind of a little boring, a little boring. Right, someone asked when are you planning to start a mentorship program. So yeah, soon now. Right. Someone asked, I've been trading futures last 10 years. Suggestions for someone to learn options that has not. So I would say learning the fundamentals, just going on YouTube, just understanding what options are and just understanding like the different strikes and basically how to enter an order is probably the first place to start. But if you want to learn in terms of strategy and just understand how to actually trade them, I would consider just like joining a group. Like not I'm not saying join mine, but just following a trader, an options trader, and seeing how they operate. That's the best way to learn. Because the thing with trading is when you read a book or you watch a video, it teaches you in theory, but to actually learn how to do it right, I think you'll shorten your learning curve by watching someone do it. I think that's the best way. But first step though, just learn the fundamentals, understand, the different Greeks, understand how to enter an order, just understand the different strikes, different dates, and just get used to seeing an options chain. That would be the first thing to start with. So someone said, can you post your Discord link when you get a chance? Yeah, sure. All right, so a little bit of a bounce here, right? Market's it's just chopping around at the moment. Let's see if it double bottoms down here near 619 again. We'll see. Someone said, do you think the government reopening will be sell the news? I think it's priced in. I don't think it's going to really affect the market, to be honest. How do you know when the day's lows or highs have occurred? Well, we know the day's lows and highs as of this moment, right? Could they break the lows and make a new low? For sure. But now we at least have a level to mark to gauge market weakness or strength. Meaning, right now we know the high on QQQ is at let's say 625. Just needs a round number. So if it gets back above there, the high of the day, then definitely looks more bullish, right? And then if it breaks the low of the day near 619, then I would say it looks more bearish. So, but yeah, so far just kind of chopping around a bit. Bitcoin, Ethereum still dipping, so it's giving back a lot of its gains from pre-market. So still some weakness there. Okay, someone asked why options, not shares. So trading options, number one, you don't need a lot of money, right? With trading shares, you need a decent amount of capital to actually make some money. But with options, you can start with a four-figure account, 5 grand, whatever. And I've seen people grow it to 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand, right? and beyond. So that's, I guess, the big benefit of trading options is you can have a small amount and you can grow to a large account. Versus if you're trading shares, let's say 5 grand with shares, you need the stock to go up 400 or 500% just to get up to $25,000, right? So, but there's pros and cons, right? With options, you could lose the whole 5 grand in a week if you don't manage your risk properly. So with trading, right, whether you're doing shares or options, it's all about momentum. So you have to wait for momentum in order to catch the best type of trades. So like in a given year, there's probably 12 really, really good weeks for trading and 12 really good weeks to trade options where you'll see those 1,000% gainers. And if you can survive the other weeks and take what you can from the market on those other weeks, then when those good weeks come, that's when you get aggressive and you can actually grow the account, 5 to 10x. All right, so still pretty choppy. Not is it really. I wish today was a little bit more exciting for you guys, but not too much going on. You see IWM start to reverse now. There's really not too much. Like GS, AMD are running a bit. UNH still at the highs, but like SPX at the lows. QQQ kind of holding here near 620 so far, but nothing. We haven't really seen a bounce yet, so still pretty early. We're not even an hour into the day yet, but yeah, let's see if market starts to grind back up. Someone said you should do this every week. If I had time, I would, but honestly, this is probably the last time I'll do it this year. So, yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've actually done a live stream uh, publicly. So, someone said, "Is it just day trading or do you swing trading?" Yeah, I do swing trading too. Day trading, swing trading. Yeah, SPX still moving lower here, 68.47. Someone asked, "Do I trade gold too?" Um, I've traded gold a couple times, but do I trade gold frequently? No. I caught that trade at 39.40. I announced on X and then sold it when it hit my target around 40.50. So I think it got there the next day too, which is crazy. So yeah, so far, like you look at the S&P, right? You look at QQQ, and you look at different tech stocks, and basically, like if you took a trade already, like I did, it doesn't mean just keep taking more trades, right? You have to just be careful in this environment because there's still some weakness. Well, pretty good amount of weakness here, especially seeing QQQ move green to red. It's not the best type of price action for the upside. And then also seeing Bitcoin and Ethereum reverse back lower too. It's more signs of weakness. So it's a situation where some people will try to average down and keep buying more, but in my opinion, you should only add to your winners, right? If you do buy more, you add to the winners. You don't add to the losers. A lot of people do the opposite, right? They'll when they're down, they just keep buying more, and then it works sometimes, absolutely, but that one time it's going to blow up the account. So just something to be aware of when you are trading. You don't add to losers. If you do add, you add to the winners. But yeah, you see like Meta right now still printing new lows. Amazon, no real bounce yet. Apple starting to reverse a little bit lower here. So yeah, tech today just not the best type of price action. We're still up a little on these QQQs. We're not up a lot, but at least we're not down right now, right? but need to see more here. Need to see a bigger bounce soon. So like when you watch like the S&P and the Nasdaq and the QQ start to bounce, like look at which stocks bounce with it, like stocks that are in that index. Like you want to see what's moving with it and what's not, and then the ones that aren't, those are relatively weak. The ones that are bouncing with it, then start to kind of focus more on those. That'll help you kind of filter out like which stocks to avoid versus which stocks to actually trade. So yes, so I did a YouTube video earlier this month, and I talked about how I took a big loss trading NQ. So people were like commenting, "Oh, you said you size for zero, right? You size for zero. Like, why are you putting a stop loss?" Anyone that's traded futures, you have to put a stop loss because if you don't, and the index or the futures, it just keeps going lower. I mean, your account could just go straight to zero, right? Like assuming like it's like a black swan event, and you could get margin called. So the only time you size your zero is when you trade options, right? Because when you buy the option, it cannot go further than what you put in. So sizing for zero, it number one, it removes the emotion out of the trade when you're trading options because especially trading weeklies, it's the most volatile type of option to buy, right? You only have a few days for it to work, and you need to account for the emotions because if you buy too much, your emotions will control the trade, right? When it's going up, you'll sell early. When it's going down, you'll panic, right? So when you're honest with your risk and you size accordingly based on what you are actually willing to lose, that it keeps you objective and it keeps you actually in the trade to where you can see the potential of what's possible. So that's why I say size or zero. Doesn't necessarily mean let it go to zero, but you're sizing in a way to where you're okay if it does go to zero. It doesn't mean you let it go to zero. Right? You don't have to let it go to zero, but you're sizing in a way to where even if it goes up 500%, you don't care. If it goes down 100%, you don't care either. And that's how you get better as a trader, being able to handle the emotions and being in control. Because a lot of traders, the emotions control them, right? You're up, you get happy, you win the trade, you take the next trade, you double down, right? You make the wrong decision on the second trade. Same thing when you lose too. You lose a trade, you want to make it back right away. That's how most traders think. So yeah, the size for zero people like it is somewhat controversial when you read it at face value, but when you dive deeper and you try to actually understand what I'm saying, it's the only way to trade options. So well, there's a lot of different ways, but it's the best way to look at risk when trading options. So you see SPX still dipping. It tried to pop higher, couldn't do it. So nothing, still kind of just a slow day, to be honest with you, just a little bit, just average day so far. Okay, so someone asked a question. For someone who trades crypto with leverage, what would your advice be to learn? What would your advice be for them to change the stocks? Yes. So the problem, I would say, the issue with trading crypto is there's a lot of number one, manipulation, and then there's also not a lot of regulation. So it's it's kind of hard to trade, and most of them move based on like Bitcoin or I guess Ethereum, but more Bitcoin. So they kind of all tend to just move together, like in general. So that yeah, if I would say if you want to really learn how to make money long term and grow an account and just kind of be involved in a market that has a long, track record of, I guess, making people rich, then uh, yeah, I would just focus on the stock market. It's in my opinion the easiest to trade, and there's just so much opportunity versus like crypto. There's long periods of time where none of it really moves. Like this year alone, I mean, if you look at Bitcoin and even Ethereum, right? Ethereum is kind of just in the same range for years. So I just think there's just learn the S&P, like learn the movement of that, uh, learn the Nasdaq, and then go from there. Yeah, so you see SPX still dipping. It's pretty much red on the day now. Yeah, just move red on the day. So not much here, not much to do. Kind of just watching now. You see Amazon at the lows, Microsoft back to the lows, Meta still, wow, 612, down almost 20 from the pre-market highs. Apple holding decent. So yeah, time to just like chill. Right? It's kind of price action is a little bit more random for me. And seeing a gap up and then give it all back, it's not very bullish either. So no reason to just keep taking more trades. Just wait and see where the market bottoms at this point. You see SPX still going. Yeah. Some more weakness here. Wow, Meta. Jeez. Let's see if there's any news on that. All right, more weakness here. Breaking 319 on QQQ. Yeah, SPX still going too. Meta maybe goes to 600 again. That'd be crazy. You see Apple holding, didn't really dip, but most other tech stocks are just getting pretty sharp sell off here. But QQ held trying to hold 319 again. Let's see if it can bounce off. Maybe that's the last back test here before higher. We'll see. I pinned the WAP link. Okay, let me put someone's asking about the WAP link. All right, hopefully this doesn't take up the whole screen. Let me see. Is that can you guys still see the screen? Yeah. Actually, wait. Yeah. Let me. Hold on. Wait. Don't click on that yet. One sec. Let me edit this. All right. So yeah, here's the. Hopefully that doesn't take up the screen completely. So yeah, here's the coupon code. Just gonna do the Black Friday sale a little early this week or this month. So yeah, if you guys, I guess, do want to sign up, people keep messaging in the chat. Just use that coupon code to sign up. We'll give you guys a discount. So you see SPX dip bought up there. That might have been the last flush before higher. It's a 9 point bounce. QQQ also back to 620. Let's see. Let's see if we can start to grind back up. A little bit of relative strength in Apple there. A lot of different stocks are getting smoked today, though. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But yeah, so the Discord group too, it's not a group where you join and then you just follow the trades, whatever. You can do that, but like only join if you're there to learn, right? Like me, I try to talk about everything that I'm looking at trading, and I try to teach the psychological aspect of trading as well. So if you're there, if you want to learn that and you want to learn from a trader that has been trading for a long time and I have a lot of experience trading different markets, then consider joining. But don't join if you're just there to kind of just uh, piggyback off alerts. It's not. I don't really. It's not a sustainable way to trade. Just trying to follow alerts. Small bounce, but see if QQ can pop back above 621 next. If so, then I think could start to see a grind back higher. Tesla, I would avoid. Be careful trading that. Palantir, I think it's a little bit of a tougher trade. Like if you look at the daily chart on Palantir, I mean, this thing's been on a rip, right? I mean, since pretty much the April lows was at 64, went to 207 this year. So 64 to 207, if you're thinking about going long, like long here, it's a difficult type of investment, meaning if you're bullish on a stock, you don't buy at the all-time highs. You buy when there's mass panic. Like you buy when people don't want to buy it. Like it's kind of like Robinhood, same thing, right? When this thing was at like $50, $60, $40, 20 bucks, nobody wanted it. But once it broke 100, it got to 120, 130, everyone started to buy it. So from a psychological standpoint of investing as well, you have to think from that perspective of when the market's ripping and everyone wants to buy, that's usually when you sell, and then you jump back in when the market dips. And it's kind of like a rinse and repeat type of cycle when it comes to investing. Same thing with trading, but the day trading it's a little bit different, where you're more it's more capitalizing on momentum. It's a little bit dip is getting bought up here a little. Let's see if it keeps going. But yeah, pretty. I mean, it's a very slow day though. I mean, this is not, I guess, an ideal day for like live trading, but I'll at least try to teach you guys along the way here. Okay, someone asked, what trading platform do you suggest? Currently using Robinhood and see the option prices are slightly higher for a particular strike. Uh, Schwab is pretty good, I'd say. All right, let's see if we can start to carve out a bottom here, but not too much going on quite yet. So let's see. SPX up about 11 from the lows, almost 12 points. Not bad. QQQ, we're almost even on these calls, so not too shabby either. Someone said, how do you feel about day trading using the 15, 30-minute orb? Um, I don't know what that is. I don't look at like if you look at my charts, there's nothing on them, right? I think like a lot of like traders that even try to teach, they use a lot of indicators and they use X, Y, and Z and this and that. But what I've found, like when especially people that I know that trade with very large size, nobody uses them, right? I think it's a lot of just a lot of noise and can create a bias. If you just know what the levels are, right, and you just you watch the price action, and like I said, you look at the relative strength and weakness between a stock and an index. That's really all you need to know. And I only speak from experience. Like I've grown an account from four figures to five to six to seven to eight figures, and I know people that personally that have done the same, and nobody uses any of those things. So you see a lot of people that try to teach, especially on X and whatever, YouTube, Instagram, their charts are filled with different things. And does it make you more money by having all those? For some people, sure. But I think the more simple you have in terms of your strategy and what you have on your charts, I think it's the easier it is to actually see the market for what it is. But I don't use I don't even know what that is. But I don't use anything. Like you can see the charts, right? There's nothing on the charts. So honestly there's not even any levels. I look at the levels every day, like after hours in pre-market. So I don't I kind of just have them memorized too. Yeah, so that pop got sold back lower a bit, you see. There's really not much going on today. Kind of still like it's still early, somewhat early, so we have some time here for the market to develop further, but no real bounces. Kind of just pretty average. Guys, if you ask a question and it's not answered, you don't have to keep asking it. I see all the questions. I'm just kind of answering what I can. So yeah, Meta's getting destroyed. Wow, did not expect that, right? Like it looked pretty decent the past couple of days, getting bought up. Especially yesterday, I got bought up pretty decent, and then destroyed today. Wow, you see Bitcoin, wow, selling off, moved red on the day. So I sold. I got rid of my position at 104.1. It's at 102.8 now. Someone said, "How many trades do you normally do in a day for options?" Not many. I would say 1 to 3, probably. Probably 1 to 2. Yeah, not much. Yeah, still some weakness. See the dip got that pop got sold back lower fairly quickly. QBQ back down 1 point. Right. Someone asked, how do you set your targets? Okay, so for me, the way I set my targets is I'll sell the first half between 40 to 50% just to take some off the table. And psychologically, it helps you, it puts you in a better place for that trade. And then the next quarter or the next half of the position, I'll sell based on strictly technicals, right? So the next big level that comes, I'll try my best to kind of hold until that level. Or if the trade starts to reverse, then I'll probably get out and just secure that profit for the trade. But yeah, that first half, like some people try to hold as long as they can, but you'll find that if you sell between 40 to 50%, it'll kind of take a lot of pressure off of you when you're in a trade. So I guess not much more of a dip there in QQQ. Yeah, tech is looking really weak. Amazon still new lows there. Microsoft not really a bounce. Meta 610. Anything got destroyed. Is at 631 to 609. Palantir, Robinhood lower. Bitcoin, Ethereum selling off a bit. Gold is looking strong. Gold, it's like rotation into gold. NBIS at 94. Wow. Jeez, I think 141 to 94. Yeah, if it breaks, I would say 85. It'll fill that gap lower. Yeah, so we had a bounce from Friday into Monday into Tuesday, Wednesday, starting to see a little bit of weakness here, but still seeing a little bit of support here. Still above the lows from, or right near the lows from, oh, I'm sorry, the highs from Monday for SPX. QQQ, pretty far off the highs from Monday. All right, someone asked, what's a riskier trade, options or Bitcoin? I mean, it's very different. I mean, they're completely different things, right? I mean, yeah. Yeah, so pops are still getting sold. You see that? Tried to pop a higher little and stopped. So someone asked again, what does size for zero means? So basically, with options, sizing for zero is basically just you're putting an amount of money into the trade that you're okay with going to zero. Doesn't necessarily mean you let it go to zero, no, but you're putting in an amount of money that you don't care if it goes up 500% or down to zero. And what it does is it removes the emotion out of the trade. So if you remove the emotion out of the trade, you'll trade better, right? You'll trade more objectively. So the problem with a lot of traders is they'll put $1,000 into the trade, they'll stop out at 20%, 30%. So you lose $300, right? But when trading weekly options, it's too tight of a stop. So instead of stopping out at $200 or $300 loss, just buy $200 or $300 worth of the option and just allow it to go to zero because it's the same thing. And every trader, they have an average loss, right? Whether it's $300, $1,000, $10,000, and their average loss sometimes is based on a position size that's twice the size, right? It could be a $2,000 position, and then their average loss is $1,000. If you shift from doing it like that and just buy $1,000 worth of the option, you'll trade better, right? You'll be more objective. You'll be able to trade more consistently, and you'll be able to hold your winners longer. So that's what it means to size for zero. It doesn't mean you just let it go to zero. It doesn't mean that, but it means that you're being honest with your actual risk. And when you do that, it changes the way you trade. Have I traded forex? Nope. All right, so pop's still getting sold. You see that? Every time it pops higher, they sell it back. Microsoft almost back to 500. Crazy. Definitely seeing a lot more weakness here. Yeah, Bitcoin got destroyed. Wow. I think I sold that. Yeah, I got lucky. All right, so you see another small pop. Let's see if it tries. Let's see if it can hold and get back at least above this 5 minute candle. If it can't, then I think more downside's possible here. These pops are getting weaker and weaker. Like if you look at the intraday chart, this 5 minute chart, each pop is lower than the rest, than the last. So it's a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and then once again, lower high. So in order to kind of break out of this intraday downtrend, it needs to at least get above now like 621 for QQQ. And then SPX just needs a, like I would say at least a 10-point pop here just to kind of show a different type of price action. So yeah, you see it dipped again. All right, so we're 90 minutes into the day now. Not much, still not much going on. Yeah, still a lot of stocks look very, very weak. Yeah, if they flush it, like Meta potentially could go to 600, but it's had a pretty deep pullback already. So I'm not sure how much more it goes today. Like 631 to 609 intraday is it's a pretty significant dip. Same thing with Microsoft. I mean, there's at 510 pre-market, almost 511. It's at 503. You see IWM, it looks strong, and now it's reversed right back to the lows. So even things that look strong, like it's more, the price action is a little bit more random to me now. I don't really see an edge. All right, market's trying to a little bit of a bounce here. Let's see. Mm, yeah, gold is still ripping, almost at 4,200 on gold. I think gold will get to 5,000. It's got a shot to go to 5,000 next year. Right, someone said, "What's your thought process behind staying away trading Tesla?" So if you look at the Tesla daily chart, like just look at that chart from September 15th till now, right? It's in this long consolidation, like alternating red and green days. Two days green, 1 day red, 2 days red, one green, one red, green, green, red. Like it's very hard to trade that. It's very hard to time that type of price action. Give me 1 sec. Once again. Yeah, you see the pop got sold back lower again. So yeah, nothing great. Looks like the market wants lower, but just kind of sitting here watching for now. Yeah, Bitcoin's wow, really not looking good. Market's dipping again here. Do you negotiate better rates on options with Schwab? Yes. All right, so another small bounce here. Let's see if it can actually move back higher. It's funny, like sometimes with the market, it looks so weak, and then when no one wants to buy it, that's usually when it starts to reverse back up. Today, I don't know if that's the case. A lot of stocks still look very, very weak. So, not really seeing any clues yet quite yet. So, like I said, when you don't see any clues to go long, especially down here, just kind of be patient and wait for more or better price action. So, not seeing that quite yet. You see, like it tried to pop higher again. You see, and got sold back. So you want to start to see like a kind of like a U shape. There's the curve back up, but I'm not seeing that. You see SPX, still nothing. IWM at the lows, move green to red on that one too. Goldman Sachs is holding up really well. Same with UNH. Yeah, let's see if this market starts to grind back up. So, all right, someone asked what news source do you use or do you see? So there's a few different ones you can use. Benzinga Pro is decent. Trade the News is good, and then on X there's a bunch of different free ones. I think Walter Bloomberg is one. There's if you go on my X account, you can kind of see who I follow. Uh, so yeah, Yeah, still new lows there. You see Microsoft, Oracle, MSTR, Bitcoin's at 102 now. Looks does not look good. That's not what you want to see, especially after it was plus 2,500 pre-market. Now it's minus 800. Ethereum was plus like 150. Now it's minus 20 points. So definitely not great. A little tricky, right? Especially seeing like I said, like if Bitcoin and Ethereum look strong, then typically you'll see more risk on in the market. And with them gapping up the way that they did, you'd think the market was going to get bought up here, but then the exact opposite happened. So all right, a little lower here, not looking great. QQQ still holding on to 319 though. Or, I'm sorry, 619 though. So let's see. It's right near it. Nope, a little bit of a dip there. I might get stopped out of these NQs soon. Yeah, but I get stopped out of these NQs. Yeah, Bitcoin. Thank God I sold that. Jeez. So I had 10 lots of the. Oh, there I got stopped out in queue. So I had 10 lots of those Bitcoin futures. So that 104.1. If I had held on to that, I would have given up pretty much all my profit. So I made about 100 and I think 20,000 on that trade. If I had held till now, I would have lost all that profit. So sometimes it's good to just take profit when you see it, especially days like this. There you go. SPX still dipping. Yeah, I'm surprised at how much the market's dipping, especially on the gap up. Definitely didn't see that coming. Microsoft right there, almost at 500 now. So 495 is a level on Microsoft. If it can hold that again, right? You see here, it dipped it there on September. What's that 5th? September 5th. Touched it again a couple days ago, and it bounced. So as long as that area holds, I say near 495, 490, I guess 492, 495 range, we should see a bounce at some point. But as of now, yeah, market's looking kind of not so great. Yikes. Yeah, market's still going. Getting a little bit of a bounce, not much, but let's see if it can start to get bought up. Yeah, that candle doesn't look great. That daily candle on QQQ. So I got to almost 325 today, and then now it's at, I'm sorry, 625 today. Now it's at 618. Kind of a free fall today. It's a big fake out though, right? Like the futures are looking pretty decent last night. All right, a little bit of a dip buy. A little bit again. See if it gets bought up actually this time. All right, let's see what happens. So QQQ back near 619 again. SPX up 8 points. It looks like kind of like right here earlier. So let's see if it actually holds this time. All right, looking a little better. Not really down much on those QQQs. You see, once again, it gets kind of dips right away. Okay, bought up a little. Let's see. Kind of want to get back in these NQs, but we'll see. Yeah, I guess stopped out literally at the bottom. Yeah, SPX needs up at least 10 more minimum. QQQ 621 would be ideal here. Yeah, look at Meta. Geez, still there's no bottom. Microsoft now at $500. That's crazy. All right, someone asked, how did you learn how to trade? Just trial and error. Right? I kind of just learned on my own. This was a long time ago, about 15 years ago. So yeah, I didn't really like have any mentors or anything, or really learn from, I guess, someone that had a lot of experience. Kind of just try different things. Right, made a lot of mistakes, but sometimes that's the best way to learn. Your opinion on dividend stocks? I think dividend stocks are good if you have a lot of capital or if you're older and you don't want to take much more risk. Let's see if the market could start to bottom here. Let's see. I mean, QQ still near 619, kind of near the lows of yesterday almost. But let's see if it starts to bounce. Pretty much a full reversal from yesterday, pretty much. So what's your thoughts on Ethereum and BMNR? I think Ethereum looks fine, right? I I think next year it'll be higher. Same with Bitcoin, but for now it's just market's a little bit just a little bit more tricky, a little more risk off in terms of just the crypto market in general. I think it's it's more of a consolidation year, right? The whole year they haven't really done too much. Well, I guess Ethereum did make a pretty good run, but Bitcoin not too much. All right, someone said, what's a good amount of capital to start with if you're more of an options buyer or seller? I would say 5 to 10 grand to start trading options is fine. I don't think you need much more than that. All right, so market's dipping a little again. Yeah, I'm not sure how to move my camera. Someone says it's blocking QQQ. I'm not sure why it's like stuck there. Let's see. Like tempted to buy NQ here again. Right, so QQQ is trying to bounce. It's up 1.2 from the lows. SPX up almost 10 points from the lows here. Let's see if it tries there. Market might try to bounce. Microsoft, I mean, back at 500. So if it can hold there, you might see a bounce on that too, as well. Yeah, see a dip again. Tried to bounce, but still getting sold back lower here. So you see SPX right there? Just drop five like nothing. So it like you look like I said before, like you look at the intraday chart, like each pop is lower than the last, right? So 68, what's that? 69, 68, 62, 53, 45, 41. Now it's at 36. So it needs to at least get back above where it popped up to just now, and then start to hopefully carve out a bottom from there. So we'll see. Kind of tempted to jump back in NQ. We'll see. Still early. All right, so dip bought up a little, starting to look a little better here. All right, someone said I have 50,000 hours of research, study, and application of everything I relate to the markets. Nothing works, like nothing. Is there a workable model that you could recommend? Well, like, so what I would say is every trader is different, right? Some people can take 20 trades in a week, 100 trades in a month and be profitable. Some people you may just need to take 10 trades a year and you can make a lot of money or you can grow your account. But it's up to you to figure out what type of trader you are. Some people are good at trading this type of index, this stock, or this type of environment. And you have to figure out which environment you perform best in and just wait for it. If you try and trade every single day, you're going to blow up the account, right? You're going to bleed out the account. So I know people that only trade one stock or one index. That's all they do. And do they trade it every single day? No. They wait for the right type of levels, the right environment, and then they trade. So it doesn't matter if you have 50,000, 100,000 hours of research and study, right? If you don't understand yourself, then you will not be profitable. So that's the first thing to work on is figuring out like where you perform best and go from there. I might try to dabble back into these NQs. It's tempting. Wait. Yeah. So yeah, you say nothing works, but you have to also just look at your losing trades. There's a lot of information within that. Most people don't look at that, so they don't know what they're doing wrong. So when you say nothing works, you have to ask yourself, are you actually looking at what you're doing wrong? Because if you just looked at that, that's half the battle. The more you look at that, the more you understand what's actually happening, and then that's when you're able to fix it. So learning different strategies. I'm gonna try to buy this. Sorry, getting distracted. Market's trying to pop back up a bit here. All right, I might dabble. I might dabble. So KKQ is minus 1.8. SPX about flat on the day. All right, I might dabble a little bit back into these NQs. Okay, yeah. So like I said, like you have to study those things, right? That's the only way to get better. And when you say nothing works, it's all on you, right? Because there's a thousand ways to make money trading. There's hundreds of different strategies. And but if you don't understand yourself, how can you be profitable long term? It's impossible. Like I can teach you and I can jump in the same exact trade, but the outcome can be completely different because maybe I understand how I am more than you. Right? I understand how to trade better based on what I perform best in, but you don't know that about yourself yet. Like you haven't put in the work to understand what environment actually like to trade in versus like every day you just try to trade and oh shoot, there's nothing's working, but you're not trading in the environment that you do best in. So you got to figure that out first. And then from there, you can apply different people's strategies to your actual trading. And I think that's the best way to approach it. All right. So market's trying to bounce. Yeah, those QQQ calls, they're not down much. Almost at even. You guys can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay, mic's working. Yeah, like the thing with trading is like you look at the whole market, right? You look at different stocks, you look at Robinhood, Palantir, Nvidia, any stock. And if you just had the patience to hold just buying one, let's say you bought Robinhood, you bought 1,000 shares, right? You buy 1,000 shares last year, and you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what would make me a profitable trader? Number one, it's having the conviction to hold a winner, right? You buy at 40, you buy 1,000 shares, you put 40 grand, and you sell this year, 120, 130, 150. You could make 100 grand on one trade, right? And it's been a slower grinder, but it's one where you don't have to stress out about it. Right? Same thing with Palantir. Like I bought it at $27 and went to 200 plus, right? So like you don't need to take 1,000 trades a year to be profitable. You just have to have conviction in the trades that you do take. So don't think that you need to just be a hero and just try to trade X, Y, and Z all the time. That's not trading, right? Not everyone can do that. All right, so QQQ, those calls are green again. Let's see if it can actually rip back higher now. SPX, pretty decent bounce, up 18. The video where you say you lost almost 1 million trading, have you recovered mentally from that type of loss? Yeah, I mean, so I lost 600,000. It was like a $1 million swing from being, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've had days like that in the past, so I'm not used to it, but it's not something that's new. Right, market. Let's see if it starts to grind back up. So hopefully breaking in this intraday downtrend right now. Yeah, so someone asked, what did you learn from that loss? Yeah, so I would say number one, like the recent one, I was trading futures on my phone, and like I said in the YouTube videos, I was just kind of walking around, and it didn't start off to the position size that I was in. I just kept kind of buying more, thinking the market would bounce, and it didn't. And then I guess the main thing is don't really trade heavy pre-market, especially when you're overseas, and don't just keep buying more, right? Just let the trade be what it is when trading futures. So so SPX tried to bounce, pulling back a bit again. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, if somehow the market like SPX and Q get to the highs of the day, then it's going to be tough for shorts. I mean, it's been tough for shorts. I would say since April, right? The moves lower have been very quick and violent, and it gets bought up just as fast. But I'm not saying it gets bought up, but if it happens again, it's going to be a tough situation for shorts. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can market starts to ramp up. So now you see that long wick on SPX. Let's see if we can get back above it. Same thing with QQQ. At least want to see it back above there. So far, nothing yet. Meta starting to bounce a little, up almost 4 from the lows. Meta, I'm sorry, Nvidia, almost a point. Microsoft held 500, so starting to move back higher a little. All right, let's see. All right, so you see right there, SPX got above that wick. Let's see if it holds it. So like it touched that level intraday, and then it reversed lower, but then now it got bought back up. So that's like a type of candle you want to see right there. QQQ almost back near there as well. So let's see. But still a lot of work to do, I'd say. Like if SPX goes up 10 more, I think it'll set up to test the highs. So 10 points isn't a ton of, that's not a lot. So it's got a chance. QQQ has a lot more work to do, I'd say. First, you want to see like a red to green move. So at least another 1 point pop here, like up here. But then you have more resistance there too, 622. ECQQQ, don't love to see that reversal like that. Someone said, "How often are you going to be doing these live streams?" Not often. Yeah, this is. I mean, I probably won't do it again this year. I kind of just wanted to show you guys like how I operate. But I'm just very busy, and I don't have a ton of time to be doing this every day or each week. Yeah, so a little bit. You see the pullback there? Try to get back above that first wick, and now it's pulling back. So still kind of weak. This price action. QQQ down over a point now from that pop. But things can change quickly, right? If the market starts to bottom out here, we could see it reverse back up, but we'll see. About a little over 2 hours into the day now. A bit of a dip by. Let's see. All right, someone said, what time frame do you watch intraday? 5 minute typically, 15 minutes sometimes. Is Forex ever traded here? No. What's your maximum trading hours per day? Pretty much the whole trading day. Wow, that stock NBIS getting smoked, down 9%. Meta, that pop sold back lower. Same with Microsoft so far. Amazon, not really any bounce. Tesla, very weak. Palantir, weak. Not much on MSTR, kind of lower with Bitcoin. Not much happening. Yeah, SPX down about 9 points now. QQQ down about 1.3. See if it holds 619 this time. All right, someone said let's see, what kind of option strategy works best for small accounts? So you basically need to just wait for very specific setups to where the stock has the potential to make a bigger move. At least I would say between a 3 to 5% move, it has that potential. It doesn't mean you sell when the stock moves 5%, but it at least needs to have that type of risk reward. Meaning I'll give you just a random example, but let's say you enter Nvidia at 200. Nvidia should have at least the potential to go to, you know, 215 to 220, right? If the next resistance is at like 204 or 205, then your downside's at like 192, then it's hard to take that trade for a small account because the probability of you making money on it and being profitable on it is smaller. So so yeah, that's what I would kind of focus on is these type of trades. And if you look at like the history of any chart, you'll see these patterns where a stock has made a bigger move or an index, and that's what I would focus on if I were you. Yeah, markets reversing back lower. Yeah, kind of a choppy day here. Not There's not really too much to talk about other than just kind of answering questions. But kind of wish the market had a better opportunities today. But past hour and a half here, it's kind of just chopping around. Yeah, Tesla's making new lows. You see that? Microsoft right back to 500. Got a 502.50. Yeah, we're still gonna do the giveaway. I think the way I'm gonna do it, the easiest way is so if you registered to be on to get access to the live stream, we're gonna we're gonna use a randomizer and just pick people, and then I'll send you an email. I think that's the best way to do it. Well, SPX, well, pretty big dip here. 68.49, 68.33. Yikes. Second. Well, pretty sharp sell-off there. You see that? Kind of a big fake out there. All right, so dip bought up again a little, but nothing great yet. Okay, a little bit more of a dip buy. Well, Bitcoin is not looking good. Well, it's at 101.6. Jeez. Microsoft now under 500, so not great. Yeah, pretty much like double top there above 550. You say you got there once in July and then again in October. All right, a little bit of a dip buy again. Let's see if I can move back higher. These QQQ calls aren't really down much. Like the market's not moving, but they down too much. All right, so div got bought up again. Right, QQ back above 619. Still has a chance here. See if it starts to carve out. UNH bought up. GS holding up pretty decent. All right, so that pop got sold, you say, fairly quickly. Still nothing great. Someone said, why there's so many bots glazing Brando in this chat? I don't think there's any bots in here. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Fix the screen, yeah. It fixes up 3.8%. It's only at 18 though, so. Yeah, let's see here. Right, someone asks, how is trading in Japan like? So yeah, it's tough. I'd say the market opens at 10:30 p.m. So it's a little tiring, especially being out all day and then having to come back and trade. Pretty much, I was doing about an hour and a half every night, hour and a half to 2 hours. So I would say probably best to try to take a nap before work at night and then kind of grind it out for a couple hours. Yeah, we have CPI data tomorrow too, so let's see if that can push the market back up. But so far, really not seeing any signs of momentum. Kind of just choppy price action here in SPS and QQQ. Someone said AMD hands down best mover today. Yeah, you know what? It had a pretty big gap too. So I mean, if you look at it from the past, I guess hour and a half, it's kind of just been pretty choppy. So unless you caught the dip right here, then that was really the only trade, right? So in hindsight, yes, maybe it is the best trade, but I think only in hindsight is you can see that. And same thing with like SPS and QQ. People are like, why didn't you play puts? But it only in hindsight can you see that, in my opinion, to play puts right at the open, especially on a gap up. So people say, why don't you do you play puts? Why don't you play puts? But I just didn't see that trade, and I don't know if anyone else did. And if you did, that's good. That's a good trade. But I just didn't see it. You know, like I'm in those QQQ calls. They're down about 12%, so not really down much. So let's just see if the market can grind back higher at some point today. If so, and then you got a CPI data tomorrow. If it's positive reaction, this could end up moving, but we'll see. But it's always in hindsight. People, you ask like, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? But if I didn't take the trade, either I just didn't see it or I'm just not interested in it. And in this case, I just didn't see the put play. Yeah, someone else, what would have indicated that buying puts it open was the right trade? You know what? It's hard to see that, especially when you see Bitcoin, Ethereum higher. You're seeing futures for SPX and the Nasdaq gapping higher. The thought of even buying puts at the open is like very low percent. Something maybe some people caught that, but for me, I would never have seen that. All right, I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Just take a quick little break. All right, I'm back. Yep, so still not much going on yet. So slow, very slow for a session. Not much going on. Yeah, gold is ripping today. All right, someone asked, let's see, are you mainly options buyer or seller? I do both, but I would say nowadays more, yeah, just buyer. Are you generally a long trader? It suits you more? Yeah. Generally, I like to trade the long side. Typically, just more bullish, right? The market is designed to go up, and the history of the stock market, it has always gone up. There are pockets of time, certain times of the year where there are pullbacks, consolidations, or even bear markets. But the more profitable way to trade is trading long. That's, I don't know any people that are long term bearish that are profitable. So the long side is typically the best way to approach the market. So yeah, you see SPSQ every time it tries to pop back up, they reverse it. So still not no real clues yet of a move higher. There were a couple, right? That one big pop right there, but it's back under there, so it needs to get back above there at the absolute minimum to look better. All right, so let's see. From that dip, we're up about 11 points, 12 points. SPX, QQQ back above 619 again. Still just kind of average. You see it just pops back lower a little. Microsoft back above 500. Someone said, "Do you ever roll your options trades when they're underwater?" No. Yeah, if a trade doesn't work, you don't roll. You don't roll again. You only like I only roll when it's profitable. Like you sell it and then you roll to a higher strike. All right, so I mean, the QQQ calls not down much, 10%. Let's see if they can pump it back up. Said, "Are you?" Someone asked, "Are you always this calm?" Yeah, I would say, winning or losing, just I'm the same. It's the same thing. And the reason why is this, right? So when even if you're winning, right, and you see someone get really excited, that can be a big liability with trading. Meaning, if you get too excited and then you take the next trade, then you're trading emotionally, and when that happens, you most likely are going to make a big mistake. And same thing when you're losing. If you get too frustrated or anxious or scared, then you start making irrational decisions as well. So for me, like win or loss, I don't. It's not that I don't care, but it's just a number. So someone said, "Do you ever get covered calls or leaps?" I don't. No, I. People always ask me that, but yeah, I don't do covered calls. I don't buy leaps either. So someone said, "How do you train yourself to be emotionally neutral?" Uh, I think like one part of it is it takes time, meaning when you are trading and you experience, downswings, upswings, and big wins, big losses, you kind of get desensitized to the P&L, and that helps that helps a lot, I guess, with being emotionally neutral because when you see a certain number so many times when you are winning and when you are losing, it doesn't become something new. So even today, like I took a trade, whatever, like you lose a trade, like it's not something new to me, so there's no reason to react to it, right? So when's the giveaway? Yeah, we're doing it soon. We're just gathering the emails. We're gonna randomly pick some emails, and then I'll post it here in the chat. And then I'll send out an email to those people and then get their information and I'll send them money. All right, so you see QQQ pulling back again. Don't really want to see that. You want to see it get bought up, but yeah, still there's still really nothing too great happening yet. SPX isn't down much on the day. It's -5 here. Yeah, -5 on the day, so still holding up pretty decent. QQQ definitely weaker. You see that? Dropped almost about a point from that move earlier, a few minutes ago. Yeah, you see SPX that the dip again. So still like printing those lower highs on each move, on each bounce. Oops. Oops. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. All right, so a little bit of dip buy again, but nothing, nothing great. So just sit and be patient here. For the past like hour, hour and a half, nothing much going on. UNH is looking pretty strong. Potentially the second half of the day, maybe the market ramps back higher. We'll see. For someone that mainly trades zero DTE, what is your suggestion on how to succeed? My suggestion is don't trade zero DTE. You don't need to trade that to be profitable, and it's gambling. Zero DTE. All right, so a little bit of a dip buy again here. Let's see. I keep saying that over and over. Meta's up 5 from the lows. Microsoft up 1 from 500. Okay, excuse me. All right, so market's trying to bounce. Let's see. Let's see if it gets going here. QQQ, we're not down much on these calls. That's 7%. Much for an option. It's pretty much break even, almost. Shit. Oops. Sorry. So market's slowly trying to grind back up. Let's see if we can get going. Slowly here. So QQQ stopped right near that 620 level, pulling back a bit again. SPX down, not much, down 4 on that. Yeah, quick pullback, you see that? SPX, or yeah, SPX and QQQ. SPX down 9, QQQ down 1.2 just now. Let's see, someone asked, do you feel added pressure to make a trade while live streaming? Not really. I mean, I do this every day, right? I trade every day, especially in Discord. So I mean, it's just another day. I don't really feel any pressure at all. If I were like not actually a trader, like I didn't actually take trades, then like I'm sure people would get nervous. But it's just another day. Go really slow here. All right. Some people keep asking about the live stream. So yeah, this is probably the last one for the year. I'll do more next year. I just kind of want to show you guys how I kind of view the market and I guess my process when it comes to trading and viewing different trades. So yeah, next year probably I'll do another one, but I just don't have time. I wish I had time to do this every day, but I just don't. Am I gonna stream until the close? I don't know, maybe. I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah. If the market starts grinding back higher soon, maybe, but so it's quite slow, so I might end it in a bit. Yeah, someone else. Are you picking emails from the sign up list? Yeah, so I'm gonna announce the names of the people in a few, in very in shortly, and then after I announce the names, I'm gonna send emails to those people. All right, let's see if they start pumping it here. SPX got bought up just now. QQQ back above 619 as well. So Someone said send what? So I'm giving away $10,000 to 10 different people. So I'm gonna announce the names very shortly here, uh, and then yeah. All right. So QQQ is trying. We're not down much on these. Let's see if I can get them going. I keep saying that over and over. I'm just watching very closely here this price action. Let's see if the market starts to grind up. Yeah, like on days like this, you got to be very, very patient. Like if you just keep taking more and more trades, you can really bleed the account out. So for now, we wait and see if the market can start to pop back higher. Okay, so okay, so the names, okay, so 10 names, we got the list now. So I'm gonna say the 10 names and then we have their emails ready and then I will email them. Okay, so first person, Michael Bird, B-Y-R-D. Second is Danielle Kurtz. Third is Set Satish Punati. Hopefully I said that right. Fourth is Derek Allen. Fifth is Blake Quinn. Sixth is Gabriel Copper, Kauper. Seventh is David Morales. Eight is Tony Pino. Ninth is Charlie Hayward. And then number 10 is Victor So. So I will send each of you an email today, and then just and then we'll figure out exactly how to pay you. Hopefully through Zelle. Zelle would be easiest. All right, so at least someone makes some money today, right? All right, it's almost 9:30. So we did about 3 hours of the stream. I mean, unfortunately, just the market just didn't move today. Maybe I'll do one more next month, just so like hopefully we can line it up with a better trading day. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned a lot on the stream. Gonna end it here. There's really not much going on. So yeah, if you guys want to sign up to Discord, the link is listed right under my face right here, and that's the Black Friday sale coupon code. So uh, yeah, I'll make another announcement on X at some point. But yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your trading day, and yeah, we'll talk soon. Thank you.